Hi, everyone. This is Michele Graglia.
This is Marianne Hogan.
Hi, I'm Adrian McDonald.
I'm Katie Asmith.
Hi, this is Anthony Gasals.
Hi, my name is Meg Morgan.
Hey, it's Jordan Trove.
This is John Ray.
This is Ryan Van Duzer, and you are listening to the Gotta Run Racing Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to another Gotta Run Podcast.
Hello, hello. What's going on in the world of ultra running?
Big weekend at Barkley.
Well, it was actually through the week, but yeah, you're right. No finishers this year.
Not surprised. It was 100 degrees?
No, it was in the 70s, aka 20s, but that heat will kill you.
Oh, yeah.
Just like the cold and wet will kill you.
Mm.
Wow, what a difference from last year, but exciting stuff.
Big time exciting.
And we also had some Canadians participate this year. Jody Eisner, the director for the Capes 100 out in Nova Scotia.
That's right.
And one of our former podcast guests, Derek Mulhall.
That goes way back, episode 33.
That's right. And I think he ran with his buddy Casey, but I don't believe they got through a loop. But still, what an experience to even be there.
How to even get into Barkley is an ultra marathon in itself. Because I have no idea how to get into Barkley if I ever wanted to go.
We got to write Laz a letter, I believe. So,
and also I have to do it anonymously and secretly from you. Because if I ever get into Barkley, oh, by the way, I got into Barkley.
Oh, by the way, we're getting a divorce.
Oh. Was that in the prenup?
Yes.
Barkley cannot be part of your career. Okay.
Oh, man. So before we get to our guest today, a big thank you to our Patreons who continue to support the show. The more supporters we have, the more benefits we can provide to you. It only takes a couple minutes to get it done for the price of a gel a month. Why not? Head over to patreon.com and look up the Gotta Run Racing podcast. If Patreon's not your thing, you can also support us for free by leaving us a rating and a review on whichever platform you listen to, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. It all helps, folks.
And who is on the podcast today?
Well, today marks the return of our Canadian Trail to Western States series. It's been a while since we showcased our Canadians who will be towing the line at the big show this year. And we're kicking it off with Ken Slagter, a 56-year-old ultra runner from Ontario. It took Ken 7 years to get into Western. You know all about that, eh, Norm?
It's so long ago.
Which means he's got to have some good stories along the way. We'll be chatting about his journey and how it all started, including a health scare in 2023.
Without further ado, here is Kenneth coming up. Welcome to the podcast, Ken, and big congrats on finally getting into Western States.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here and have a chat with you guys, and let's talk things all about ultra.
You bet.
I do know what that feels like to take 7 years to get into Western States. I also took 7 years to get into Western States, so I do know the feeling, the commitment that you have to do to get into Western.
It was thankfully for me. It was more of a passion as well, right? I just wanted to get into longer races and longer distances, and I just made sure I ran qualifier, so I was always set in place. Except for the second year, that's why people thought it's odd I had 16 ballots for 7 years. Well, that doesn't jive. I entered the 1 year 7 years ago, and then I didn't enter the second. And at that point, you couldn't carry over. So I had to start all over again on the third year.
Okay, well, we'll get to that then for sure. But let's go back to the very beginning. Let's talk about how you even got into running.
Running. Well, yeah, it goes way back when I was just a wee young lad. And I guess they call it middle school in the States, but grade school here, grade school and high school, I ran cross country. And interestingly enough, my father took some Super 8 video of me when I was racing in grade 7 and grade 8 in the Sulphur Springs Valley, in the valley there.
Oh, wow.
And, there's footage of me coming along, and luckily I did win that one race, and it was a sprint finish. And every year at Christmas, he'd show the movies and he would do little stop, pause, stop, pause, stop. And then he'd show me running into the finish. You know, it was pretty cool. And that I got started when you can get near the front of the races and win a few, then it really puts a little fire under you. But I was just a skinny kid. I probably would have been diagnosed with ADHD, lots of energy, and I just found my feet to use it, right? And that carried on to high school, maybe a couple years in cross country and track. Did okay. Then I dropped it.
Mm.
You just dropped it and focused on having fun in my life and finishing high school, getting into a trade school as a masonry contractor. And then I just got too tired to run all the time. And so I was focused on work, raising a family with 3 kids, and running just took a back seat, except for the odd 10K that I would run at the Ancaster Old Mill race just to throw something down and see if I still had it. So took all the way till about 2015 before I started picking up again.
Okay.
When I was finally using more of a boss role in my company and not laying the bricks and blocks, I had more energy, right? So, and then I started picking it up there, and it just took off from there.
Wow. When did you start getting into ultras then?
Well, ultras came, 2017 already. So I'll go prior to that. I saw like a half marathon. Can that be done? Can we do this? Because I had done 10Ks. Well, I thought we could. So I ran the Chile half. Man, that was so bad, but I ran it stupid. I didn't know anything different than to run fast and run fast till you bonk and struggle through it. And once that was done, I went and watched the Around the Bay race. It's in Hamilton here. And I was just baffled about how they could go so far. And I remember thinking, they're not running very fast. It was at the later stages of the race. And I'm like, what? I want to try that. So did that and ran stupid again and pushed through it. This is good. And I remember saying, I'll never run a marathon. It's just too far. It's too much pain. And my training was inadequate. I just would throw these down kind of like out of nowhere. But yeah, I did the marathon. Toronto, 3.5 hours. I was very happy with that. And the bug was already starting to go. And then I didn't try trail racing for any particular reason other than you pretty much got to run a trail race to get a 50K.
Right.
So I ran, the Blue Mountain 2017 50K.
Okay.
Met Rob Crar and Dean Carnazius, and I was a little bit starstruck there. I mean, a little bit calmer now about the whole industry, but starstruck and like, this can be done. Had a really good run. I think I got 15th there, and that probably put some fire under me. Say this is cool. And then what's the next thing you do? You run a 50 miler. Right? Progressed on to North Face the following year at the North Face Challenge, right? San Francisco. And then was just, it's a whole nother level of racing and just sustained climbs and descents that we don't have around here.
You did it the smart way. You went from 10 to half to full to 50, unlike some people who just go straight into.
I've seen that. And I'm like, are you sure you want to do 100K out of the gate? I mean, we can all do it. If you can put one foot in front of the other, you can do it. How much do you want to hurt for it, right?
Exactly.
Did you did that 100K right out of the gate?
I jumped right into the Canadian death race.
125. Yeah. Never been there. Might want to get there sometime.
Yeah, you should. It's a good one for sure. When did you first hear about Western States, Ken?
Probably in one of the magazines I was buying because I'd go to Indigo with my wife and we go read books and she'd do her thing and I'd be stuck in the magazine rack reading trail. And I would have picked it up through there. I mean, I just filled my head full of all things shoes, gear, just basically who's who and where you can go.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where I heard about Western States. And I thought this is this big iconic race, the whole history of it. We don't have to repeat that. But Jim Walmsley particularly really piqued my interest in the big story about how he tried for so many years to win this. And I just fantasized about that.
Were you aware of the commitment it took to get into Western States when you first heard about it?
Well, no, I knew it was as easy as to fill out register online, but I didn't really think that far ahead. I can plan on certain things I want to do in my life, but I've always taken running as a bit of a guy where I'm late to sign up. I'm not sure I want to do this, or I don't like to book my whole year for fear I may miss out on something else I want to do.
Right.
And then once the ball started rolling for Western, you got to stay on that train. No intentions of not signing up for that every year until I got it. I know 10 years you're supposedly starting to get in. You should get in.
Right.
But, the luck of the draw was with me this time. That's for sure.
All right, well, let's talk about some ticket races. Let's go back to your very first ticket race. We think it's the Miwok, but we're not too sure. What was your very first race you did to put in a ticket to the lottery?
Oh, let's see. Yeah, that would have been Miwok in the Marin Headlands. I believe so. Yeah, that was 1819. That's about right. Miwok. Because I don't think the North Face got me in. Maybe the 50 miler at North Face. I can't remember. No, it must have been Miwok. But that was, also a lottery entry. Not that hard to get in. But I really did lay down on that one, try to get a good effort. And that one really, really put the fire under me to say, hey, you've done these sustained climbs, these descents, and, you held on, you ran strong to the end. And I felt really good about my time. And yeah, that would have been the first one for the ticket for sure.
That's a great way to see the redwood forest too.
Oh, there was so much to see there, from the ocean views to everything. Seeing the top of the Golden Gate Bridge coming through the fog and running all through there. I think Marin Headlands, everyone's got to go there just to try it. You've got the Rockies, you've got the East Coast and interior. This is something else. It's really cool to be there.
So when you put your first ticket into Western States, you thought, okay, I'm going next year.
I honestly thought it's possible. Like my daughter, Kendra, she wins everything she enters. No other, why can't I? But I was willing to accept anything that would happen just because I was enjoying this passion of running. I just love to put one foot in front of the other, especially on the trails. And that's when I turned my back on road running, really, and went all trails. And you got to get your qualifiers for Western that way. Yeah. I didn't expect to get in, that's for sure. But I also know that someone has to get in. Why not be me?
And then I think you went back to California the next year for Leona Divide. How was that race?
Oh my goodness. That was Leona Divide was supposed to be the Sean O'Brien for me, because I remember a lot of YouTube videos I watched. I forget the woman's name. She was a fast runner. I watched her story about her Sean O'Brien race. And I thought that'd be a great qualifier, right? Another California one. But they had wildfires and they were shut down for that year. So the next logical thing would be Leona Divide.
Right.
And that was a race. Rob Carr was back there and we chatted a bit there. And that was a different race for me of all the races. That would have been very close to being a DNF. And that was the first race that running, let me put it this way, I really felt like, why am I doing this? Why do I want to punish myself this way? And feeling so bad at 50K, because in my own words, I was still running kind of negligent, stupid. I was just running too hard out the gate.
Okay.
So 50K burnout, I remember saying to myself, I was really frustrated. I was having a lull and I said, this is not running. When I'm hiking all these hills for so long, and I still had to get into my head that you can hike, you can power hike, right? But the damage was already done. And the ascents pushed the ascents too hard and the descents way too hard. And it was first race for my quads, absolutely trashed me. And I've never had it before or since. I mean, my quads are good. I considered myself to be just a healthy ascender, but by no means very fast at all. I hold back, and in the downs, I really lay down, and I just with wanton disregard, and quads are going to pay for it. And I learned that the hard way at Leona. When I finished coming down the last kilometer, I saw this fellow I've been fighting off for, must have been the last 10K. I could see him getting slowly closer and closer, and I was doing everything I could, because it's ridiculous, right? Why am I racing one person at the end? But it's a race. It's a race. So he got me last couple 100 meters and he said, let's go. I just can't. I couldn't go downhill anymore. But couldn't walk. I couldn't sit when I was done. I couldn't eat. My head was okay, but everything else fell short. On a side note, my whole family came down to watch the race, one from Idaho, my brothers from California. They had to go for dinner. They went to Santa Clarita for a meal, and they get a Mexican hole-in-the-wall place, which is the best kind, and they're ordering burritos, and I couldn't even look at the place. I just laid in the car with the door open and tried to survive while they ate. So, yeah, it was a definite learning experience, and kind of got the nickname for my buds, Seabiscuit. That's what they call me, because I run out the gate too fast, and take off, but you get back to that later. I've learned from those mistakes.
But you were not in any danger from getting cut off because
No.
you did it in 12:30, which is a great time for 100K.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wasn't in danger at all. I was just, how your head takes over.
Mm-hmm.
And at 50K, I was feeling that bad.
Wow.
I hadn't ever really had a lull that bad or a low so bad that I had to consider not running. Usually you just kind of, if you get into a nutritional low, you can eat, you can slow it down a bit, you can rehydrate. But all these things just hit me at the right time where it just wasn't fun anymore either. But I'm glad I stuck it out because I don't like DNFs. And I learned from it.
For sure. Well, in fairness, when you're training on the hills in Hamilton and then you show up in California, you're talking like 3, 4, 5 times the length of what you ever trained on. So it's hard to remind yourself during this event that, hey, this is a once in a year thing that I have to do, and I gotta do it in stride, literally.
It's also true that my family had come down there to watch me. They drove from Redlands, so that's 2 hours or so. And my other sister flew in just for a meeting, of course, too, just for family. But they were all there to support me, and I knew they were going to be there at the finish, so I wasn't. Yeah, I had to get in my head. New shoe change, sat for 20 minutes, and someone at the aid station says, "Just do this out and back. You're going to come right back here again. You're going to eat up another 20, and then make another decision." And that was great words from the volunteer, and I took him up on that.
That's awesome.
Also, you had a Western States ticket on the line, so you can't let that go.
That is true. I think this one was early enough in the season that I could have probably traveled somewhere in desperation to pick one up, right? I never felt ever in getting qualifying races that I was in trouble of not getting one. COVID was one thing, but
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, because we tried in 2020. We tried looking for races you've done in 2020, but we couldn't find any. What happened that year?
Well,
I blanked it out personally.
Well, COVID hit. I was the guy.
I forgot about that.
World's coming to an end. We got to grow our own vegetables. So I was making, I shut down the business for a while. We said, "Oh, this is bad." We made all the raised garden beds. We're going to grow our own food, and we did. I just took some time off to reassess, but I kept running. Right, we still kept running, but I don't even remember. So I never got a qualifier for that. So I guess we didn't get in. That was a bye for everybody, right?
Yeah. Norm's just pulling your leg.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm pulling your leg because 2020 was when I was supposed to go to Western, and then the world shut down. So,
but I could have had something else, even smaller race. But not every race gets under an ultra sign up either, right?
No, that's true.
A lot of 50Ks I run that don't ever show up there, and that's fine, right?
That's right.
Right. And then moving ahead now, you go back to California for the Canyons 100K, which is a pretty well-known race too. How much fun was that?
Yeah, thanks for reminding me. I was on fire for that one. I was so stoked to get down there. And, I didn't even apply for that race, that early on, but because it wasn't filling up. Like now, you've got to be so far ahead. It's almost an iconic race already.
Yeah.
I mean, what better thing to run on the Western States Trail without running Western States? Get on the canyons, right?
For sure.
I'm sure it's backwards, but I've seen Michigan Bluff, Auburn, all these different places where we run through Devil's Thumb. That was pretty good time. Mm-hmm. So also it was a very good race, mind you. I'm still shooting for this 12-hour goal of getting a mountain race 100K done. But this is not the place to do it with 4,500 meters, I think. Yeah, and those sustained climbs were even worse, but up to Forest Hill 50K was feeling pretty good. And then it was just a bit of, I got to rein it in for the last half, and very enjoyable race. I really, really enjoyed that. And I don't know if we're allowed to, do any sponsorship stuff here, but Hoka did put on a good show there.
Yeah.
It was a good time. Nice seeing all their lit pylons in the forest.
Oh, yeah.
And I could hear the announcer screaming at the finish line and just running through all these water puddles with snow on the side where cold feet didn't matter anymore. It was a great race to be up there. And I was also with, I think Reed Burrows and Phil Set were also racing there at the time, both from Hamilton. So it was nice. We had a little bit of Canadian camaraderie there. James Schwartz as well as another good runner was with us from Canada.
Well, I do remember that year because that's the year that Jasmine Lowther won, our Canadian, won the
Yes.
women's.
Yeah, no, that was a great thing too. I follow her. She's a bundle of energy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That was a great Canadian run. I mean, I was even was 150th, but still, I was quite happy with a sub 14 on that one. That
For
was
sure. So at this stage in the game, are you watching the Western States Lottery live in December? Are you following along to see what's happening? Who's getting pulled?
Absolutely. The last few years, I sit on the couch upstairs, got the laptop open. I start right from the get-go and I go right through it. And because I know I have a bunch of friends who've also applied, so we can see who can get in at that time too and celebrate with them. Like that's
Right.
what the running community is all about, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I sit and watch all the way through. And yes, I go all the way through the 50 or the 75 waitlisters too. That could happen. But a little side note about my friend Jeff Rothorn, I mentioned him before. He told me, because we run often together with friends of ours, and he says, I will get in. And he told me that. And there was never, obviously nobody knows, but that was his mentality he kept. I will get in. And he kept saying that. And I'm like, realistic, well, your chances are as good as mine. Well, the guy got in. So, and he told me after with a straight face, I told you I was going to get in. And I adopted the same mentality for me for this year, how silly it may sound. I said, I'm going to get in. When people ask, no, I'm getting in. And it happened.
It happened.
Did I step out of the room to go to the shop a minute to get some things and come back? Yeah. What happened? My name got called.
Oh, of course.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Well, in 2022, you did not get in again. Shocker. So you had to go do another one in 23. And we think it's the one in Florida, the 100-miler.
Yeah.
What's the name of that race again?
The long haul.
The long haul. Yeah.
That's the long haul. Yeah. The long haul in Florida, 100-miler.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my buds again, a couple of friends, Louie and Jeff and I, and we decided to go down. And I was pulling a camper trailer all through Florida for the time on vacation, and they flew into Tampa. So we picked them up, and the next morning we raced. We set up our little right on the corner. I was rested. I was ready, and it was the very flat race. I may tell you, I think we had 100 meters of gain on this whole course.
No way.
No, yeah, 100 meters. You don't get any flatter than this place. It was completely flat. But it had a great vibe. The hub, where there was a hub, they called it, and there was 3 spurs off the hub. So there was 3 out and backs you would do, and it would complete, I believe it was a 10 miles on total, and you do that 10 times for your 100 miles.
Oh,
so
wow.
you could always see a lot of people in and out and watching things go.
Mm-hmm.
And I had only done 100-miler before, and that was a gong show with Happy Trails Racing, and that was kind of like a backyard ultra.
Right.
And I pulled the plug at 23 because I didn't think anyone else was going to go 24, and they did. So anyways, I got my 100 miles. And, the long haul was a test to see how fast we could do a 100-miler and how I could hold up. And all 3 of us, we held up well, and I think I got a 21 and change. 20.
Nice.
Yeah. So for flat course, I was very pleased with that result, and that put the fire under my belt. Now I got a Western States qualifier in January.
Yeah. We're just to say that because all your races that you do seem to be early spring. So do you prefer that with hard winter training that we do, that you're going to be doing a spring race somewhere?
I do, because with my industry, my business, I'm back on the tools again more. The company's downsized, and I'm tired at this age. It's hard slugging bricks and stuff. Well, my winter and early spring are slow because of the weather. So now I'm rested, and I can put in these times. And when I go on vacations and to a resort or Florida, I can put in a week of hard efforts and put some miles in, right?
Right.
So I get some warm temps, and back here, I certainly don't mind running in snow. Actually, I love it. As long as it's not too cold, I don't mind running in snow. So
okay.
the Bruce Trail's in my backyard almost, so we use that all the time.
Right.
Great opportunity for me to train for a spring race, for sure.
Well, that explains it. That makes sense. Yeah. Now, you already had that ticket for Western. So what brought you to the Mohican in Ohio later on that year? Have you guys checked out our merch via our website, GottaRunRacing? We have some really cool swag. including the mugs that, if you've watched our YouTube video, that we drink with. Cool red mug with a cork bottom. It keeps liquids nice and cold or warm. What else do we have on there, Norm?
Well, we have our shirts that I'm wearing.
That's right. You can either choose from GottaRunPodcast or GottaRun Racing. You can also find our 20-liter dry bags, which are a steal at $25. Perfect for using at drop-off bag at an aid station. We've got flasks. We also have cooling multifunctional neckwear, which is a fancy word for a cooling buff. Has the GottaRun Racing and Podcast logos on it. Not to mention, we have the affiliate links for the 3 companies, for the 3 brands that we are affiliated with, that being Air Relax, Compression Therapy, Caffeine Bullet, and Kinesis Sunscreen. So by following those links, you can access exclusive discounts. So do check that out, GottaRunRacing.com.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think you're asking my friends, which one of us got in first? There's the 5 of us, and we thought, well, someone joined up, and I said, why not? Ohio looks like fun, and we like destination races.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, I took our camper trailer there, and we camped in the state park there, right at the trailhead where we raced.
Nice.
And I read some blogs of the race, and it looked like it appeared to be a pretty decent run. It wasn't of like Miwok or North Face, but it was a large crowd and a good amount of people. And I certainly didn't expect to finish how we finished on that one. That came out of nowhere. And I think I contribute that to having a very warm spring and early summer back home. That when I work outside, I'm in the heat. Say I'm rebuilding a chimney on a roof, I'm into 30, 40 degrees and it's hot. So I acclimated well, and it was a hot race. During the day, it was pretty hot. And a lot of people I noticed were suffering with the heat, and I was able to embrace that and had good icing and good aid station help. And I wasn't a sea biscuit. Way out, and I held back a little bit and then just ran flowy. And then after the last couple loops, we had to put the hammer down. Had a great pacer and got a great finish. So I was really happy about that one.
What was your time there, Ken?
That was a little faster. It was under 21:30, I believe. 21.
Wow.
So I got 10th. So that was the first time I ever actually really, really raced a long distance effort, because usually at that point in the game, you're just trying to hang on and you're trying to end with some strength and not be destroyed. But when I saw 17th, 16th, 15th, and my pacer kept telling me, you're whining, you're picking these guys off. And then we got first place woman. And then we got to get the next one. Then we're going to get top 10. And now it was a fight. And it was so much fun to actually race that late in the game. It was a good time.
Very cool.
Cool. Which is wondering, we know that you picked your races based on tickets, but what are the parameters that you look for in a race to say, yeah, I got to go do that because of this?
That's a great question. I guess a couple things. I think one of them is the crowd. What's the vibe going to be like? I think every race always has a good vibe, but when you have a really small race, the vibe is less. So I kind of choose to go towards something that's a lot of fun, a lot of vibe. Doesn't have to be flashy, but something big and well put on.
Mm-hmm.
And usually these bigger races tend to be a little tougher, right?
Yeah.
I'd say that, and challenging as well. I don't like to do them too easy. But then again, what's an easy race? We've got the Foxtail races here, and that's on a rail trail in Hamilton. And, you can make it as hard as you want just by running faster.
Yeah.
But I do like climbing, and I do like descending because it breaks up your stride and it keeps the mechanics of the body moving better than running flat for too long, which I don't enjoy. So yeah, those are 2 things, vibe and maybe some difficulty of the race. And then destinations as well.
Right.
Yeah.
The time that my wife and I can travel, and then we can either fly out somewhere and capitalize by meeting family, or drive down there and camp somewhere, right? And then find different cool places to go to. And who doesn't want to go to Florida and race when it's warm in the winter?
Well, later that year in 2023, you had quite the health event. Would you mind sharing some details about that? Because obviously it plays a big role in where you're at now.
Yeah. Thanks for asking, Jody. We're definitely feeling way better now. That was a tough time. And I know anyone who knows me kind of knows the story, because if they ask, I wear my heart on my sleeve and I tell the story. So I'll keep it. For no reason, out of the blue, we don't know why, I had a heart attack in August of 23 while I was at rest on Sunday noon, watching a video of, I don't even know what running video, but I was just relaxing on the outdoor patio, rested, totally fine, had a great sleep, and chest pains, and called the ambulance, and I had a heart attack.
Wow.
We're there for a couple nights, and what they found was that I have a condition called dominantly, it's called aflutter, and which is like AFib.
Okay.
So if you're unfamiliar with that, it's just basically the electrical impulses in your atria, left and right, are not firing right, and they affect the way the blood flows into your ventricle to pump. And loosely, I'm getting about 10 to 20% less oxygenated blood to fuel myself. So whenever you do something like even climb the stairs out of the basement, I'd be winded. Sometimes I'd be dizzy and hang onto the railing and just fight that pass out feeling. So why do we have this? Well, I did some investigation, and I was 55 years old, an ultra endurance runner athlete, and that was high on the numbers of developing AFib they're finding. I guess not something that they really medically knew about 20 years ago, because this ultra running didn't have enough data to see all this maybe.
Right.
So that's my thoughts on that. And I do feel that could have brought it on. I'm not the doctor or the surgeon, but ever since then, we waited 14 months to get ablation surgery.
Wow.
And that is when you go into your femoral artery and you go up into your heart. I think it's 3 or 4 hours, you're out cold, and they actually create scar tissue in your atrias to stop the electrical impulses from short circuiting. And then your heart relearns that way to fire the proper current, right? To fire your heart. You're an electrical being. So the wait for 14 months was horrible, because I couldn't walk nearly as much. It was exhausting, but still have bills to pay. You still got to keep moving, and you still want to run. I'd say the guys I got to turn back. I just can't keep up. And they'd say, okay, we'll walk. They're great guys, but still that's no fun either when I'm feeling like a sack of potatoes, right?
Yeah.
So the 14 months of surgery happened. It went 4 weeks. Think we're out of it. And then it slipped right back down into the aflutter. And I'm exhausted. And I said, that's it. I'm going to the hospital, and I'm going to ask for a cardioversion. And that's where they shock you. So they knocked me out, gave me a shock, reset the heart. And ever since then, since last October, I've been great.
Really?
Another 6 weeks and slowly ramped up to training again.
Wow.
So you'll see that my mileage, if on Strava, really suffered for 23, of course, and then into 24. Yeah, but we're doing well, and I'm cautiously picking up the mileage because I don't want to go back into it. The wait is too long. I don't blame anybody. I don't blame the health system. I just say that it's a fact of we only have so many people to do the job.
Right.
And very thankful for what happened. And Dr. Wong did a great job. So
Could this happen at any time now? Is that what you now worry about, I guess?
yeah, the heart attack won't come back because, that may have been stress. I had some stress in my life at the time, and also with the problem with the flutter. I'm not worried about a heart attack. Some of my friends are when we run. They're like, okay, you're not feeling so good. Hold back. But I don't want to die on the trail, but certainly we run in places where there's no one around. And I'm like solo flag, I call myself sometimes. I'm a unique individual runner. I like to go out in the bush and be by myself, and rarely do I carry a phone unless the weather's bad. I may need rescue, but maybe I should change those ways. But if you're going to have a heart attack out in the bush by yourself, you're likely not going to get out of that anyways, if there's no one to get you, right?
And what was the doctor's advice? Like, did you discuss what you do on the side here? And
yeah, they knew I was construction, right? And they knew, luckily for me, they said they're going to put maybe a bit of a rush because I'm younger and an ultra endurance athlete. I felt that they were trying to, but you go in the queue. But I think it's not fair to say I'm any younger than anyone else who gets the surgery first. So what was your question? I just wandered off that.
What was their advice for your returning to sport?
Listen to your body.
Okay.
So they said I could run. My doctor says, I don't know why you do this. My GP, he says, we're not meant to run 100 miles. But I look at it that little differently. If we were, or if we weren't, I can still do it. And so many people do, right?
That's right.
There's not leagues of people dying on the trail here. So I feel very confident it's safe. But if an episode happened again, which it did at the Grindstone, which we may bring up the Grindstone race, you'll just have to stop. And so I'll lead into that for a Grindstone.
Yeah, for sure.
I had the 100-miler. I think I already had my qualifier, but I had already postponed Grindstone because of the heart attack. And I thought, this is a great iconic race. I want to try this too. And my friend Louis also ran it. And I 1K from out the gate. And this is still not even having the surgery yet. I decided to do this. It was not smart. It was not smart, but I promised everyone who loved me that I said I'd go easy, and I did. But it was just like no other race ever. Nothing. I couldn't climb. I had backers passing me, which is fine, but I'd have to wait, dizzy, out of breath. So I hobbled 75K to a station that was safe that I could get me out, and that's pulled the plug. And I said, "Yeah, I won't do that again." Because the doctors there could see the AFib, they could feel, or the flutter, they could feel it, they could see it on their monitors. So I won't do that again.
Yeah.
And if I feel any chest pain or any dizziness, I will be careful. So going forward into Western States, my training's been good so far, doing some hard efforts, but I'm also cautious. Am I looking to win the race? Of course not. Am I looking to do some ridiculous time? No, I do have a time in mind, but I won't be at cost of having any future trouble.
No.
What a heart issue, right?
No.
But
well, you did bounce back because in 2024 you did do Sulphur Springs 100K to get to that ticket for the lottery, right? So how did that go? How did you feel that day?
Oh, we know how the weather was. Pretty awful.
Well, I still had the flutter going on, so I still wasn't fixed. The weather was up and down, but it's a home race. I know the course like the back of my hand, so there's no worries there. And I mean, I ran it just by feel and felt good. Well, of course, we always run it. You run a 2-hour loop to start is too fast. I think that's somewhere where we are, but I was feeling okay. And there's plenty of hills to power hike and get through it. And Sulphur was a great day, but I remember seeing heart rates at 175 and I was running medium.
Wow.
And I could see it on the Coros and on my armband as well. That's not a place I want to be. I mean, that's over max heart rate should be at my age. And that's where it was. So I knew I wasn't doing my body any favors, but I needed that, I needed the ballot to get into live wrestling, and it was placed well ahead of the cutoff time for that. So I think 12 and change or 12:30, I think. So yeah, and that was a bit of I still got something in me here, even by feeling out of shape with the heart. I'm still hopefully can be okay when I get better.
Okay,
so
cool.
When was that last surgery, Ken?
I had it in October of 24, mid-October 24.
Okay.
Well, it's not been that long.
No, not really.
No.
And they say within 6 weeks of the surgery, it's going to be hit and miss if you're gonna be successful to the surgery or not. And it wasn't at the 4-week point. Had the cardioversion, and so far there's been nothing that I could feel or see on my wrist-based monitor that shows.
Knocking on wood for you.
Yeah, I'm not on wood. I mean, you can't read your heart rhythms on your watch, but you can see your beats per minute, and that I know the indicators for that.
Right.
So let's hope. Wish me well.
Okay, so now you're watching the lottery in
December.
2 months after surgery.
Yeah.
You're watching the lottery, maybe with a couple of beers. I don't know. And
no, I'm another story, another day. No, I don't drink anymore. Drinking's bad for me. So
okay. We'll talk about that. If you and I decide to run together one day, hopefully you can tell me about this story.
Come to Hockley. He'll show you the sisters.
Near beer. See, that's what we call them.
There you go.
Brewing. There you go.
Love them.
So you're watching the lottery. Tell us what happened when you were watching the lottery.
Sitting down again, like usual. I mean, should it be another year expecting the same name that doesn't pop up? But let's think about this. It's even worse this year. 67,000 ballots.
Yep.
And 250 get picked. Really, guys, what's the odds, regardless of how long you've applied for before? You're not getting in.
No.
But I said I was getting in, right?
You did.
I think it was about midway through. I had to step out. It was a client who showed up I needed something outside of the shop. And And my daughter came running in. Ken, Jeff's on the phone. And I knew that was one thing about Jeff because I called him when he got in. He's like, yeah, you got in. And the whole house is freaking out for me. Right. And the client's like, I'm doing a big woohoo. I was like, what's going on? What's going on? Who runs 100 miles after I explained it to him? So, I don't understand the craziness, he said. But yeah, I got to celebrate by myself. Ran inside. Obviously, we played it over a few times this evening. And he pronounced it right. So I was just, it was a great day. That is for sure.
Well, you know you got in for sure when they take the money off your credit card. But
yeah, well, you got a certain amount of days, right, before you can accept it. Funny story. I lost the old email account. So they were sending my invitation to accept the draw to an old email address. And 5 days later, Mr. Thornley, I haven't received this. And then he explained, we sent it. So I get him a new email. I'm like, man, I could have dodged a bullet there if I hadn't been on the wall and paid attention to that. So no, but now we're in. I'm getting their emails to, updates and stuff. And I'm really looking forward.
So how many texts did you get that week to volunteer as pacers?
Yeah, you know what? I got a few actually, but I got more well wishes than offering to pace. But that being said, I'm not sure how many pacers I'll have. We've locked in one fellow so far, and I'll have to put out, see who's available. My friend was a great pacer for me at the Mohican, Chris, and he did a really good job, but he's unavailable. So we'll figure this out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You certainly don't have to be a fast runner because I won't be running fast when I pick up a pacer.
And who's going to be your crew?
Yeah, this is the thing. I've never been a big crew guy. I'm very self-sufficient. I rarely wear a vest. Actually, canyons with 2 handhelds.
Yep.
And just a waistband with gels. I don't mind aid station food, but I did have my wife, my daughter Kendra, she's an adventure writer and a filmmaker. We hiked together, and she made a run together, and she was with my wife, so she has a good understanding of the dynamics for that. Basically, I just need extra pair of shoes, a little bit of clothing, lube, just a handful more of gels, and some few things that I might like to eat.
And an ice band.
Ice band, yeah. I did Mohican. And so, we have to figure out the ice band even more for the arm sleeves. I'm going to try. So when it gets warmer here, I'm going to be trying all the ideas with the ice, wherever you can get it.
Yeah.
Because you got to win it.
Very cool.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. I have a cabin in Truckee already rented, and we've got lots of room for whoever needs to come in.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what are you looking forward to? Now you're finally going to be at the big show. What are you looking forward to? Because I hear Jim Walmsley's going to be there.
Yeah. Well, Killian got second place the other day. Was it Chianti? Somewhere he ran, and Killian got him.
Yeah.
He's going to accept his golden ticket, so maybe he'll only be there. Rod Farvard, and it goes down the line. It's going to be a great race. I'm obviously the interest will be at the front, and I'll be at the back.
No, you be standing beside them. That's of our sport.
I just want to run with Jim.
For 2 seconds, you can do it.
Yeah. No, I like to meet the guys and say hi, and that's about it. They have enough things to worry about. I'm just looking to start. I'm looking to hike the first climb for 5 or 6K. I'm looking to power hike that and get on top of the escarpment and hit those cruisy downs and then we'll start racing. Oh man, I'm really looking forward to it.
Any chance of going to the training camp or you already did canyons, the same thing, I guess?
Yeah, I did think of that actually. Karen Holland here, she ran Western, and she advised me a few things. Yeah, go to the training runs.
Yeah, I went with her. I went to training camp.
Yeah. Get the vert in and start pounding your legs on the downs, right? So she had some great advice, which kind of knew already, but it was nice to hear it from someone who's been there. And heat, right? What are you going to do with the heat?
Yeah.
You got to suffer through it. I think I have a little idea to bring maybe my Sawyer water filter. I've never seen an ultra runner run with that before because it takes time. But, my friend Jeff Rothorn ran it. He said, he ran dry. He had terrible time with the urine was dark and he thought he was in real trouble. And I know from my own history, I can't get dry. That's race ending for me. So I take from streams real fast, and you can get a smart water bottle, screw it on, and you've got your filter. So you should never be without water if there's sources around. And
right.
That's what I may do. So think we're going to be wearing a pack this time, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, things that I may need for sure.
Well, we'll be watching, Ken, and just remember when you get to the track, soak it all in.
I'm going to. Part of me wants to sprint it as fast as you can. We'll call it like a 8-minute per K sprint. That's going up, but I definitely, we're going to soak it in. Hopefully I can get some family out there on the track and coming in. But let's just get there first, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's get there uninjured, healthy, heart healthy, right?
Absolutely.
And able to do the job and feeling well.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Very good.
awesome. We wanted to focus on Western states today, and we know you have a lot of cool things in your history with your daughter doing the whole Bruce Trail, but maybe that's a tale for another day.
Yeah, I'd love to give you a tale for another day. That's no problem. Yeah, that's another part of life in trail running, right?
For sure.
Hiking and getting out in the great outdoors.
Absolutely.
Well, if you ever come our way again, we can do the Hockley Loop for your training, and we can talk all about it.
I'll take you up on that. You know, it's give it about 4 weeks, and we'll be dry enough to get in there.
Yep.
And we'll look you up.
Cool.
Okay, sure.
Well,
Well-
before we let you go, we like to do a little rapid fire at the end of our podcast just for fun.
This should be good.
All right. Okay.
Yep.
So 70s, 80s, or 90s music?
80s.
80s all the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Hands down. Hair bands.
We're of similar age, so we would agree.
Stuff.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
It's got to be Star Wars.
Of
Yeah. Star Trek. I'll take Star Wars.
Would you rather be a professional writer, painter, or musician?
All musician, because there's some musicians in my family and I love when they play. I wish I could play like that.
Oh, yeah.
Musician.
That's cool. So if you could only run one more race in your life, not including Western, what would it be?
I think I know, actually.
Well, I may want to go back.
Yes.
I miss CCC.
Yes.
Heart attack. Yeah. So I think UTMB will be, they make it look easy. Guys, I hiked the Tour de Mont Blanc in 10 days and man, I can't imagine running that in one go. I think I'd have to go back to CCC.
Yes.
CCC and get that taken care of.
Which we neglected to mention, you were on track to do CCC just before your heart attack, right?
2 weeks.
2
And I
weeks.
told the doctor in the ER, I said, I got a race in 2 weeks. So what is it? It's 100K in the mountains. He says, no, you can't. There was no option, right? So
Oh my gosh. Butter tarts with or without raisins?
for sure.
Thank you.
It's a long debate.
It is a long debate.
Absolutely.
All right, Norm. Final question.
Okay, last question. Pick a superpower that you'd like to have.
Great question, because I asked it to so many people. I just asked it to my nephew a few weeks ago, and mine would be to fly. A superpower would be to fly, because look at the places you can go at your own leisure.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a popular one.
His was different than mine, but I like to fly.
All
Very
right.
good. Well, all the best at Western. We'll wish you well.
I hope I won't disappoint you guys. I'll do what I can. Thank you for your time, guys.
Well, come on
Absolutely.
out. We'll do a run together. We'd like to, I got some more questions for you, but on a run. It'd be better on a run.
Yeah, give me 4 weeks. We'll look you up and we'll go for a run, guys.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we're 10 minutes from Hockley Valley, so
Oh, perfect. You'll see you
Yeah.
at the parking lot.
and I've got non-alcoholic beer in the fridge, so come back for a beer.
Perfect. Let's do that. All right. I appreciate that. I
Yeah,
got some
for
questions
sure.
you guys too. All
That'd be
right.
awesome. Very good. Enjoy your Sunday.
Yeah, I'm going for a run. That's for sure.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.
And that was Ken Slagter from Hamilton, Ontario, on his way to Western States.
Wow. Lots of energy, lots of stories.
Absolutely.
I love stories like that.
Feel good stories.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he had a heart attack in 2023 that came out of nowhere. He was able to bounce back, which is good
Absolutely. Absolutely.
because I'm sure he has a lot more adventures to go.
For sure. And like you said, he wants to get back to Chamonix, so he's got to keep going.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, if you happen to know any of the other Canadians that are heading off to Western States this year, drop us a line because we're putting out our feelers to have some more folks on the podcast for our Western States series. But sometimes they don't look at their Instagram messages. So if you know someone personally,
That's
send us
a Canadian that's going to Western
a
States.
Canadian that's going to Western States. Drop us an email, GottaRunRacing@gmail.com, or through Instagram or Facebook. We'd really appreciate it.
And if you do that, hey, leave a rating and review.
All right.
Until next time.
Cheers.
Bye.